Hi, my name is Nick, and today I'm going to show you what are, in my opinion, the 4 most important things you need to pay attention to when making Mogrts. If you keep this video in mind when creating Mogrts, you will always end up with something really awesome. The most important thing you need to focus on when trying to make excellent Mogrts is expressions. If you've never heard of expressions, they are a very powerful tool you can use in After Effects that allows you to put little snippets of code inside of your properties. Expressions are in JavaScript and don't need to be incredibly complicated. With expressions, the sky is the limit, but if you're not interested in becoming a coding master, that's okay. You only need to understand the basics to start making awesome Mogrts. If you're new to expressions, I might be able to help. I've got a tutorial on how to get started with expressions, and it's specifically oriented towards Mogrt development. You can find that here. Why would you want to learn expressions? Well, even the most basic Mogrts are likely to have at least a few expressions in them somewhere. The basics are easy to pick up, and the rewards are massive. Expressions are the best way to set yourself apart from anyone else, as they are the sole way you're going to be able to automate your Mogrts, and automation is key. Just a couple simple lines of code will give your Mogrts features like automatic text scaling, mask resizing, text alignment, horizontal and vertical centering, dynamic and adjustable timing controls, and so much more. There are so many possibilities with expressions. You'd be doing yourself a huge disservice not picking up at least a little bit of expression experience. You should put those expressions to use by automating everything you can. The less the Premiere user has to do, the better. The best way to do this is to use SourceRect to resize and reposition elements completely automatically so the Premiere user doesn't have to fidget with size controls. I actually have a whole video dedicated to SourceRect. It covers everything from the very basics to the things that you really need to watch out for to make sure SourceRect doesn't break your Mogrts. If you're not familiar with SourceRect, it's the best way to get the exact size of your text, and you can use it to position and work with text in really awesome ways not previously possible. SourceRect is not only a powerful tool for resizing elements around text, but it can also automatically size masks and is the only way to easily and quickly change the alignment of text from inside of Premiere. If you don't use SourceRect, the Premiere user will end up having to constantly fidget and fight controls to make sure the Mogrts doesn't break. Say we have a box with text in it. Every time the user changes the text to be longer than the box, they need to mess with the box size slider so the text fits. Using SourceRect, we can make the box automatically adjust in size around the text. Ultimately, if the user changes the text and it breaks the Mogrt wasn't made right. The whole purpose of Mogrts are to give a Premiere user the ability to utilize awesome animations in their videos. But no matter how many incredible features your Mogrt has, whether it be fantastic timing controls, automatic resizing, whatever incredible features you can think of, the Mogrt is completely useless to a Premiere user if it doesn't look good. You have to focus on the front end just as much as the back end. Make sure to watch out for small imperfections in your animations. Even the smallest imperfections can be really noticeable to first-time viewers, so make sure you're getting everything down perfectly. The next thing you really want to focus on is easing. Good easing can make the difference between a bad animation and a good animation, so make sure to pay attention to those keyframes. This is the one that I always see problems with. You need to keep your Mogrt simple. If a first-time user can't open up your Mogrt and immediately create something cool, then your Mogrt is not easy enough to use. Almost every time I open someone's Mogrt, there are millions of controls everywhere for everything I could ever hope to do. That is not a good thing. It's awesome to have a customizable Mogrt, but not at the cost of simplicity or ease of use. This ties into the second step I mentioned, automation. If you utilize automation properly, you can remove a large amount of controls by just managing those settings automatically for the Premiere user. For each control you add, you'll want to take a good second and think, does this control really need to be in my Mogrt? If it doesn't absolutely have to be in the Mogrt, then you should seriously consider removing it. Finally, once you've narrowed down the controls you absolutely must have in your Mogrt, you need to organize your controls in an intuitive fashion. Group timing controls, text controls, box controls, color controls, all into their own little sections so that a Premiere user can immediately figure out what's going on the second they open your Mogrt. I recommend adding labels to your sections so that a new user can instantly see what the groups represent. Another good organization practice is to use blank comments to separate your groups of controls. This way the controls don't look like a jumbled mess to the user. Ultimately, ease and aesthetics are what make Mogrts awesome. To really concentrate the message of this video down into one sentence, you need to make Mogrts that are both beautiful and incredibly easy to use. Alright, that's the whole video. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, you might be interested in the rest of my YouTube channel. I have all sorts of content just like this with helpful tips on how to work with After Effects and Premiere when it comes to Mogrts. Oh, and if you'd like to help me not drop out of college, feel free to check out some of my Mogrts on my website, nickolashowell.com. Thanks.